was still alive, something that ultimately led to the formal request for information from North Korea. In a letter, the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, North Korea said all daughters do not regard all as their father, since he abandoned his family and drove their mothers to death. They strongly refused to deal with all and asked not to bother themselves anymore. Mr. couldn't reach for comment Tuesday. Cho Se-young, chairman of North Korea Abducted Family Association, said in an interview that he doesn't believe North Korea's statement. He heard evidence last year that Miss Shi was alive. He said he believes North Korea made a statement to quell criticism in South Korea about the treatment of Mr. Oh's family. From the Korea Real-Time Wall Street Journal. May 7th, from Daily NK. North Korean ICBMs exaggerated. A high-resolution show declared last week that the threat posed by North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles is being exaggerated. According to news agency RIA Novosti, Russian military intelligence, Igor Segun downplayed North Korea's ICBMs at Russian Ministry of Defense conference on missile defense in Moscow, pointing out the technology to produce a ballistic missile capable of a range of 5,500 kilometers has only been accomplished by the official nuclear powers. Israel, India, Pakistan, Iran, and North Korea are currently only capable of producing a mid-range missile system. However, U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Global Strategic Affairs, Madeleine Creedon, maintained U.S. concerns about North Korea's long-range missiles, saying North Korea and Iran continue to directly or indirectly develop ICBMs. As such, she went on, the treatment of such weapons continues to increase. North Korea has not stopped developing missiles despite the failure of the rocket launch. From Daily NK. May 9th, from the Mainichi Shimbun. Japan delegation brings American North Korean abduction case to U.S. The families of some Japanese victims of the abduction by North Korea and supporting lawmakers on Tuesday raised the suspected abduction of an American by North Korea in their talks with the U.S. lawmakers and officials, but their response was cautious, the group members said. The group alleged David Snowden, a native of Utah, was kidnapped by North Korea while vacationing in southwestern China in 2004. This should be a grand issue to be taken up between the United States and Japan, said Shigeo Iizuka, head of the Association of the Families of Victims Kidnapped by North Korea, to reporters in Washington. The group said they discussed the issues with U.S. lawmakers and government officials, as well as Utah Senator Mike Lee, who represents the Sundance District, with the exception of Lee, who promised to investigate the matter. However, the response was cautious. The group said Snowden, an exchange student in Beijing at the time, disappeared on August 14, 2004, while traveling in China's Yunnan province. His remains were never found, but local police investigation concluded that he had fallen into a gorge while hiking. According to the group, Snowden is believed to have been targeted by Pyongyang because of his interest in North Korean refugees living in China, the group said. From the Mainichi Shimbun. May 11th, from BBC News. North Korea access to outside media app, says a U.S. study. North Korea Koreans have more access than ever to access media, including radio, TV, and DVDs, a study has found. The government was unable to maintain a total monopoly over information, and the people's understanding of the world is changing, said the report. Viewing of foreign DVDs in North Korea, especially, has risen sharply. Both of these DVDs were South Korean dramas and have been smuggled across the border with China, said the report, commissioned by the U.S. government. When you get very well-produced, compelling South Korean dramas, a picture is a place that you've been fascinated with your whole life. Because so much North Korean propaganda revolves around South Korea, that's extremely powerful, said Dr. COMJAN, one of the authors of the study. The study was conducted by a global consulting group Intermedia over the last 2 years. The findings were based on a survey of 250 North Koreans, mostly refugees and a handful of travelers, as well as expert interviews. Almost half of respondents said they had watched a foreign DVD. This is fearful. North Korea has traditionally been ranked as the country with the lowest media freedom in the world. While the majority of North Koreans still did not have direct access to foreign media, the number of those who did appears to be steadily increasing, the report said. North Koreans are also less fearful of sharing that information than before, it said. Near the border with China and South Korea television viewing is also popular, with third who said they watch TV claiming have viewed foreign broadcast. Foreign radio broadcasts, report added, remain important as a source of real-time, sensitive outside news. The elite, those with greater financial means or influence, have more access to external social media. Recently, the reports find devices such as computers, USB drives, and illegal Chinese mobile phones have begun entering North Korea in substantial numbers, especially among the elite. However, a personal network, well-connected friends, and the word of mouth remain the most trusted source of unsanctioned information among those the study interviewed. The increased access to external sources of information could lead North Koreans view their own government with a more critical eye, the report concluded. While significant bottom-up pressure on the regime is unlikely in the short term, many people in North Korea are beginning to look more critically at the basic premises of their country's power structure and policies, it said. From BBC News.
That's the end of Ordinary News on North Korea.
This is SHIOKAZE Sea Breeze from Tokyo, Japan.
This is a message from the Japanese government. Mr. Jim Matsubara, the minister in charge of defection issues, visited South Korea on April 22nd and 23rd. During his visit to South Korea, he sent a message to the abduction victims in North Korea and the leaders of North Korea through Radio Free North Korea. He also participated in the opening ceremony of Free North Korea Week. He met with South Korean government officials in charge of North Korean issues. He exchanged views on the development in North Korea, Japan-South Korea cooperation on the abduction issues. The Japanese government broadcasts every night Relatedto no Kaze in Japanese and Ilbone Palamu in Korean with a frequency bands of 9,000 kHz.
This is SHIOKAZE Sea Breeze from Tokyo, Japan.
The end of today's news in North Korea issued.
is SHIOKAZE Sea Breeze, the shortwave radio program from Tokyo, Japan. This program is broadcast by the Japanese private organization, COMJAN, that has been investigating missing Japanese who are considered to have high possibilities to be abducted and taken to North Korea since January 2003. Also, this program is supported by the contribution. Those are from people who are willing to rescue all the abduction victims, no matter what their nationalities are. The program will give you both domestic and international news related to North Korean issues. The names along with your date of birth, missing times, places, ages, and brief explanations of those missing Japanese. We would like to ask of you who have any information about abduction issues by North Korea to give us any information. Any kind of information will be appreciated. Also, please see us our homepage at http://www.shosakai.jp if you are interested in abduction issues. At our email address, COMJAN2003@CHOSA-kai.jp. Or please write to us at Post Office Box 1022 at Tokyo Central Post Office. You can also call us at 813-5684-5058. Remember, solving abduction issues are also rescuing abduction victims who are taken to North Korea throughout the world and helping oppressed and abused ordinary North Korean citizens. This is a time for all of us to come together to fight against North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il and its regime. Please take a good care of yourself. I hope to see you soon. Have a good day. JSO, this is the SHIOKAZE Sea Breeze, the shortwave radio program from Tokyo, Japan.